What if everything you thought you knew about Jim Jones was completely fake? What if the dude claiming he made MASE and Camron stars was really just a fan who begged for a spot in the crew? What if the truth Jim's been hiding this whole time is that he owes everything to them? Remember when Dipset had the streets in a chokehold and diplomatic immunity had the whole culture buzzing? Now imagine that whole empire being built on smoke and mirrors, and the guy flexing like a boss was just a background extra who got lucky with timing. Now that the real truth's bubbling to the surface, Jim's scrambling to hold on to whatever spotlight he has left. But how long can someone fake the crown before the real king snatch it back? This ain't just some rap drama, this is a straight-up reckoning. One of hip-hop's biggest lies is about to be shattered. See, in this game, one rule has always been law. Respect is earned, not handed out like flyers. You can't just claim blocks you didn't grow up on. You don't get to remix your origin story when it helps your brand, and you sure can't swipe credit from the real builders of an empire and think no one will check you. But Jim Jones, he's been stepping over all those lines for 2 decades now. And guess what? The very people who made his career pop are done staying quiet. They're ready to tear down every false brick he stacked on their foundation.
What's the chances of you, Cam, and MASE getting back?
I don't think it's really gonna happen. We two different type of people and always have. Competitive nature always been first before friendship. Remember, Cam, my man, it's not.
So it's not you.
I took the position of my position. Cam is my partner. I'm not his artist. I was the CEO of Diplomats. I made Diplomats with him. I was with him for every bit of his journey. I held him down. I took that position of holding him down. I'm not his soldier. You heard? I'm his partner. But in the journey that we had to take, I had to do what was needed. Why I played my position. And that's why I'm able to be here and have a conversation with you, because I did what I was supposed to do.
Now listen to the nerve. Jim Jones just got on camera saying he was the CEO of the Diplomats, like he was the one calling the shots for MASE and Camron. That's not just false, it's wild delusion. In Harlem, claiming you built something you had no hand in isn't just lying, it's serious disrespect that crosses into dangerous territory. And the wildest part, he says it with his chest, like he truly believes it. That's what happens when someone repeats the same made-up story for so long, they forget it ain't real. But the catch with fake credibility, eventually the ones who actually earned it come knocking, and they're not asking nicely.
I never needed nowhere to stay. You act like your couch, you was a fan. You begged us, you were a fan.
Boom. The air turned ice cold in a second. Camron didn't argue. He sniped Jim's whole fantasy clean off with one brutal sentence. You were our fan, ninja. 4 words that completely dismantled 20 years of phony flexing. This ain't about bruised egos or rap beef anymore. This right here ain't just about music beef. It's about the real gap between the ones who build from scratch and the ones who leech off what's already popping. It's the difference between creators who hustled their way up and clingers who just latch on, hoping for a piece of the shine. Cam just made it crystal clear which side of that line Jim Jones really falls on. And spoiler alert, it ain't the side he's been parading around on.
You're not from none of that. So you gonna sit around and act like you've been around all this Harlem You ever see somebody from Harlem try to act like they from Harlem so bad that you gotta keep saying, I'm from Harlem? Harlem know who's from Harlem. You don't have to keep saying you from Harlem.
Now this is where Cam digs deep and breaks down the mindset behind Jim's whole act. See, folks who've never built anything real get obsessed with validation. They don't stick close to success out of love. They do it because they're scared someone's gonna pull their card and reveal the truth. They got nothing underneath the image. Jim's whole brand, borrowed clout, street respect that was never his to begin with. And once that fake foundation starts cracking, they don't come clean. They panic. They stack lie on top of lie and just hope nobody calls them out. Well, guess what? That time just ran out. The mask is slipping and the tab is finally being collected.
You were fanned out and you begged to come to your house after you heard all these mixtapes. That's how you was so cool. And we was like, yo, Jomo's a nice guy. Mace like, yo, I think I'll teach him how to rap. Mace actually taught you how to rap, literally. Literally. He taught you how to rap.
Boom! The truth lands like a punch to the chest. Jim Jones didn't co-create the Diplomats. He didn't discover Cam or May. He wasn't the mastermind behind the movement. What he did do? He heard their mixtapes buzzing through Harlem and begged, literally begged, to be let in the circle like a hype man who got lucky. This flips his whole legacy on its head. Every hit, every feature, every big moment in his career, all rooted in one desperate move to ride someone else's wave. But here's the real dagger for anyone who knows how the streets work. Begging, that's a major violation of the code. Ain't no man with pride gonna be cool with that. And now, everyone sees it. Real ones don't beg, they build. Real bosses don't ride coattails, they create from the ground up. And Jim, he just got caught being neither. The real question isn't whether Jim Jones deserves props for Dipset's rise. It's how long can you front like the foundation's yours before the actual builders come through with the wrecking ball. Out here, respect is the real currency, and Jim Jones just filed for bankruptcy. Once the very people who made you decide it's time to unmake you, that's game over. And what takes this to a whole other level of exposure? Jim been lying for so long, we got receipts, literal clips, him exposing himself. His own past interviews about to clap back harder than any diss track ever could. That's the brutal difference between real street legends and the pretenders. Consistency. Real ones stick to the same story cause they lived it. The fakes, they switch up depending on who's in the room, and eventually those flips come back to bite hard. Jim's been remixing his own origin tale for 2 decades like it's a mixtape, but guess what? The internet never forgets. When your own mouth from the past smashes your lies in the present, yo, that's not just a bad look, that's a career ender.
Say it. Matter of fact, bring up the clip.
And MASE helped me actually learn how to rap.
Mace taught me how to rap. Mace actually showed me, he was the first person to show me how to rap.
Mace actually sat me down and showed me the magic to rap.
We taught you how to rap. How you ran the whole organization. How you made Diplomat. You ain't make none of this stuff. You was a fan. I put you down because you had a free crib and you was a nice guy. That's how you got down originally. Period.
Now check how Camron sets this up. It's not just talk. He's not tossing accusations. He's loading the receipts. In the streets, when someone says, I got proof, you better believe they're about to show you. And what Cam's about to roll out, it's a credibility killer. Jim's entire image about to crumble in front of everyone. Listen to Cam's tone. It's calm, cool, and lethal. That confidence comes from knowing what's next. When you've got a man's own voice exposing him, you don't need to scream. You don't need to argue. You just hit play and let the truth do the work.
Mace taught me how to rap, and Cam always made sure I was on every single album he had. He was like, boy, once you figure out how to rap, the same way you act in these streets, it's gonna work for you. Just keep going. And that's all so I always gotta give credit to where credit is due. There would be no Jim Jones if it wasn't for them guys.
Let that sink in. The same guy yelling he was the CEO, the enforcer, the backbone, just admitted on camera that Mai was the one who taught him how to rap, not the other way around. Jim didn't shape Mache. Mahe molded Jim. That ain't just a slip up, that's a confession. Jim's own words just backed up everything Cam and Mahe have been saying from the jump. And when your own mouth becomes your downfall, that's the coldest form of street justice there is.
Freestyles come out. Yo, I heard the new did. I heard the new did. Yo, you wanna come through? Come through. Why? Why are we going to Jomo's house? Cool. One day, I'm leaving Mace's house on the west side, going back to the east side. I stop at Jomo's house. His grandmother died, God bless her dad. And he had a free crib. So yeah, I would bring some a little crack maybe. I'd be at everybody's house though. I love my grandparents. My grandparents were strict. I stayed at Duke the God house. I stayed at Mace with Cuda. I stayed at her. I stayed a bunch of I never needed nowhere to stay.
And here's the kicker. Jim ain't just lying about his Dipset role. He's been tweaking basic facts about their entire friendship. That's not misremembering. That's full-on revision. Jim had the nerve to claim Cam was crashing at his place like some struggling rapper down on his luck. Wild. The truth, completely different. That's classic behavior from someone who gets a little shine and starts rewriting the past to make themselves the boss in every story. It's what serial fabricators do. They flip the script to make it seem like they were the provider, the one in control. But when you're lying about moments that other people actually lived through, those lies turn into sharp weapons ready to cut you down. And the best part, Jim can't even clap back. How you gonna argue with your own voice on record? How can you say you built someone from the ground up when you've literally admitted they were the ones who taught you everything? But hold up, it gets even deeper. While Jim's out here stumbling over his contradictions, real folks, the ones who were there during the Dipset come up, have been quietly watching this whole circus unfold. And now, they're stepping forward with truths that flip the whole power structure upside down. Because once the smoke clears and all the lies stop landing, the truth, it always comes from the ones who witnessed it firsthand.
When I met Cam and Jim, they were super close. So I honestly don't really know Jim being from the Bronx and all that. You know what I'm saying? When I met them, they was in 5H, which is, you know what I'm saying, Jim's apartment, and that's, you know, like, I guess that time was after all the stuff Cam had said already with the Children of the Corn and Jim, you know, whatever he said, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, when I got there, Cam and Jim was like this, super tight. Mase wasn't even in the picture. I don't know Mase like that, you know what I'm saying? Every time I seen Mase, it's been a mutual, you know what I'm saying, respect there. So, you know, that's what that's been as far as me and Mase, you know what I'm saying? As far as, yeah, when I met Cam and Jim, they were already Trump tight and locked in. You understand what I'm saying? The Diplomats was already a name they had. You know what I'm saying? I don't sit there and claim I made the dip, so that's not something I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I made Dipset though, the two. Yeah, I did that.
Then you got Juelz Santana chiming in, saying everything was cool in the beginning. He's setting the foundation before things went sideways. Pay attention to how calm he sounds. That's the difference. Real ones don't need to scream or hype things up. They speak facts and let the weight of the truth do the talking.
And I know because I seen it, I was there. I was at Jim album release party, and everybody was over there with Jim, and Cam is standing over here with like 3 or 4 people just looking on and couldn't believe that Jim is the guy. And
now this is where things take a serious twist. Choke No Joke steps in and confirms something that complicates the whole picture. Yes, Jim did have people under him. He had real authority within Dipset. So this ain't just some case of a total fraud. It's about someone who had a little power but couldn't handle the limits that came with it. Jim wasn't powerless, but he damn sure wasn't the CEO either. He wasn't the mastermind. He was more like middle management trying to rewrite history and crown himself the founder. That's a big leap. And now it's catching up to him.
No Dipset without Jim. Jim is the gangbanger of the crew. Cam is not a blood. I don't even know if Juelz was. I doubt Freaky was, right? But the set, it comes from the gang, right? All the gang all ran under Jim.
Right.
All of the muscle was Jim. That wasn't Cam. You know what I'm saying?
Cam was like the Jay-Z.
Cam was the artist.
The Jay-Z, the mascot of it, if this is Rockefeller.
Right.
And then Jim was Kareem? Biggs?
No, because Jim did more than what Biggs did. I wouldn't use the Rockefeller scenario. That's not a good thing. Jim and Cam were partners, so to speak, but Jim took the role of being the underboss, the muscle, to make sure that Cam could function and move around and not have a bad reputation or be getting robbed and all this other stuff. So Jim put he stood front line for anything in regards to Cam, and then he put Dipset in front.
And here it is, the statement that's about to split the internet down the middle. Choke No Joke says there was no Dipset without Jim and calls him the muscle behind it all. Sounds like a big win for Jim's camp, right? But wait, don't celebrate just yet, because here's the catch. Being the muscle don't make you the brain. Just because you were essential for protection doesn't mean you led the vision. Jim was crucial, yeah, but he was muscle, not mastermind. He helped move things, but he didn't create them. There's a big difference between being important and being in charge. And now, everyone's choosing sides based on who was really in the driver's seat. Santana and Choke No Joke ain't riding for Jim because they think he's flawless. Nah, they're backing him because they saw what he actually brought to the table. Cam and Machi are out here trying to erase all that, downplaying his real moves to strengthen their angle. That Jim was just a tag-along. But here's where the mind games get slick. Both sides are bending the truth. Cam and Masse are minimizing Jim's legit contributions to expose how far he's been stretching the truth. Meanwhile, Jim's people are hyping up his value to fight off the Just a Fan label. So what's the actual truth? It's somewhere in the middle, but in street politics, truth don't always win. Perception does. And right now, Jim's getting crushed in the perception game. What's wild about this whole mess is how loyalty in the streets really works. When everyone's broke and grinding, bonds run deep, but let one person start shining brighter than the rest, that's when the masks start falling off. And what's coming next? It's gonna reveal who was really jealous all along.
That came between Cam and Jim is Jim's success. When Jim started becoming successful as an artist, the animosity started building up in Cam.
And it wasn't supposed to go like that according to Cam.
No. Cam always looked at him as being the star, Jim being capo. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's kind of like Sammy the Bull becoming John Gotti. You know what I'm saying? Gotti's probably gonna feel a little way if Sammy becomes the main man. You know what I'm saying? And in that situation, that's what it is. Jim started to grow as an artist. And as he started to grow as an artist, he started moving from standing behind Cam to he started standing next to Cam. And then it got to a point where he stood in front of Cam. Mm-hmm. And Cam was looking him over his shoulder like, what you doing? And then that built the animosity. And by the time Ballin' hit, Cam had a gang of animosity and internal hatred. And I know because I seen it, I was there. I was at Jim album release party.
Now Choke No Joke just came in and flipped the script hard, claiming Cam was the one who couldn't handle Jim's rise. But before you start buying into that narrative, you gotta know the backstory. Choke got his own beef with Cam that goes way back. Dude almost threw hands with Cam just for giving props to Jim's mixtape. That's personal, not professional. So let's be real, Choke ain't just defending Jim out of loyalty. He's also doing it because he's still got a grudge. When you're that mad about someone praising your old partner, that says a lot about where your head's really at.
Not in a disrespectful way, but he was under the wing. Jim was the muscle. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And Jewels was under that wing too, of the muscle. You get what I mean? So with Jim, he's Cam's partner.
Copy.
But he's taking a step back to play the muscle.
Right.
Jewels was a worker.
Right.
A hiree, a little man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between Jewels and Jim. You know what I'm saying? If it was beef, Jewel ain't gonna be front line. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to get through Jim, then Dipset to get to Cam, and then probably to get to Jewels.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Jewels ain't standing in front of Jim, and Jewels ain't standing in front of Cam.
Then Choke jumps in again, trying to paint Jim as the protector, the enforcer who kept Cam safe when things got sticky. But check the timing on all these interviews. Jim Jones just dropped his new project at the church steps in February 2025, and suddenly everyone's talking Dipset drama again? Coincidence? Not likely. When the spotlight starts fading, what better way to bring it back than by dragging old wounds into the light? And Choke, he's the perfect tag team partner for a rebrand, especially when he's still swinging at Cam from old beef.
At the end of the day, Jim just was smart enough to do it quicker. You know, they say time heals all wounds, so people usually let years and years and years go by. Jim, you know what I mean? He saw his moment. He saw his moment, and he saw that 50 had a platform at the time that was, you know, bigger than ours. It was bigger than ours. So to perform a song which was the biggest song out right now in front of a crowd that we are not normally in front of, you understand what I'm saying? I don't think it was the worst thing. Like Jim knew that it wasn't no bloodshed, you know what I'm saying? And Jim was smart enough to know, I think, all right, this is not even that serious. Like like at the time I knew people in Queens, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like the Cam, and you see, look at him and Cam right now, they're on the platform. So obviously the beef wasn't that serious. You understand what I'm saying? They just waited longer to settle their differences. Why is it cool to see Cam and 50 now, but it wasn't cool to see Jim and 50 then? You understand what I'm saying? That Jim and Cam is beefing now, right? So y'all say, okay, so why is 50 on? You understand what I'm saying? It's the same thing, bro. It's the same thing. It's just people like to pick and choose. You know what I'm saying? People got their favorites even in the groups, man. It's always been like that. So now when the group clash, it's like, you know, people want to take, I think the bull. If y'all really want to see move as a unit, don't be taking this. Even if you like Cam more than you like Jim more than you like Cam. You know what I'm saying? It's Dipset. You know what I'm saying? So you know when you see them going at it, you know what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, you know, that the egg on like that, like I'm definitely not gonna be the one to egg.
Then Santana breaks down that old 50 Cent drama. But what really stands out, Jim was so thirsty to be seen as a solo force that he crossed one of the most sacred street rules, loyalty during war. While Dipset was beefing, Jim hopped on stage with the enemy. That's not business, that's betrayal, pure and simple. And the worst part, it didn't come from strategy, it came from jealousy and hunger to be seen as the top dog, even if it meant turning his back on the crew that gave him his shot. Jim couldn't stand living in Cam's shadow any longer. So he made one move that blew up their entire brotherhood for good. That ain't the mindset of someone confident in his spot. That's the move of someone eaten alive by jealousy. Jim wasn't the loyal soldier who got betrayed. He was the hype man who couldn't play his role and ended up wrecking everything in a jealous rage. He wanted to be the front man so bad, he sabotaged the whole crew, and now, 2 decades later, he's still so bitter about it that he's calling up anybody with a grudge, trying to recruit them to help rewrite his story like he was the chosen one from day one.
Well, it don't even be the actual people. Like if me and you was beefing, and you said, I don't know, Zeke got a peanut head paws, and I said you got 11 toes, or whatever the case may be. That'd be that. But it be everybody else on the side, your group of niggas. Be like, yeah, man, you know, the peanut, he's a peanut gallery. They gonna make up all this make sure to turn the peanuts into peanut butter, then whip it into something else to make it all a whole bunch of different Then my talk about your feet and all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, just to, like, that's everybody who's from Harlem got some family in the Bronx. Everybody who got some family in the Bronx got family in Harlem. Yeah, Jim is from the Bronx and he came to Harlem. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, you gotta understand the war. Like, Jim it's like battling. It's like rap. It's like Jim, whatever, but they wasn't. They was on platforms. And Jim said what he said. Jim, I think what he said, something about inviting him to his, so he said, he said, they on my dick, right? That's something that's serious. Like, you hear that, you like, ooh, it's like Jim caught a ball. Oh, so what you think Cam gonna do? You think he just gonna sit there and you think he gonna, and Jim rhymed first. You know what I mean? Well, actually Cam and 50 said what they was talking about what they said. Jim heard that, he came back and said that. Now Cam, what you think Cam gonna do? Cam is a lyricist. He's gonna make you feel any type of stupidity way that's possible. He's gonna say and basically kick you in your nuts. You know what I mean? He's gonna rip your heart out. Remember the old school and they was doing electric boogie and they grabbed the nigga by the heart, pulled the heart, and they just had it in their head.
Even Freaky Zeke, who's out here trying to keep things chill, admits this beef wasn't even that deep in the beginning. But once outside voices started poking at the wounds and hyping up the tension, that's when everything started spiraling. So who's winning from dragging this drama back into the spotlight? The one whose current relevance is tied to his old controversies. You know what folks do when they've been exposed and got no real defense? They go low. When the lies ain't landing anymore, the only thing left is threats, sneak disses, and dirty shots. And Jim, he's about to show just how messy a desperate man can get when he's got nothing left but pride and panic.
Where every hands on you. But I see the pattern now. If to disagree with you and don't want to take it that route because they got some genuine love for you, you keep going on and on and on. Every that put hands on you or you get told take you cool with them. I see you with C Gutter. Junior Mafia, cool. I see you taking pictures with True Life. It's cool. Man, DC, y'all having sit-downs to work out. Gunshots was let off with that. Y'all having sit-downs to work it out. You tried to chase French Montana out the game, that ain't work out. Y'all got cool. So cool that you go to his video shoot, pardon me, not his video movie, you're sitting in the crowd watching the premiere, and they dissing you in the movie. You in the movie getting dissing, you gotta eat it, just sitting in the crowd. Nah, dissing you in the movie that you went to go see, bro. You ever wonder how you met Mano? Ask him how he met Mano. Mano gonna downplay because they cool now. He tried to press Mano one day because Mano first came out. He had a little record where he was saying, dissing the rappers. I don't know, he's dissing his name. So Jim was see Mano one day and was like, yo, what's up with all that saying my name? Mano said, who the talking to? Oh, you think I one of them niggas? You out your mother man? Now they the lobby boys. Every that do something to put pressure on you, you sit there and work it out. But when niggas got a little genuine heart for you and all that, cool, that's the pattern. If they don't put hands on you, then you can keep going on and on and on. And I ain't promoting none of this. I think it's cool that you cool with everybody I name. You gonna be 50 next year. I'm happy that you cool. I'm not saying this to stir up no feathers. I'm not saying that to backtrack on any beef or go anything like, I think it's really cool. But the you do this, you keep, you cool with, and then the and sophisticatedly, you keep going on and on.
Listen close,
Bro.
Camron is surgically ripping apart Jim's street image. This isn't just a personal beef anymore, it's a full-on character breakdown. Cam's making it crystal clear. Jim ain't got no standards, no respect for himself, and no loyalty to anyone except his own hunger for the spotlight.
What I'll finish with is this, man. I'm never here to downplay your character. As much as you try to degrade my character for years and push me under the bus and say, I ain't start this and I ain't do that, and you started Pink and you made the Diplomats, which is just, if people choose to believe that, then look, I got a Brooklyn, a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you to, my period. But at the end of the day, I never try to downplay your character. And I didn't know all this on because I was on vacation. I came back a few days ago and seen all this going on. And it's like, for instance, right? I see you post and let me get jumped in Rucker, this, that, and third by 8 and third. I let that story however they want to tell it. I seen the story one time when Little C's was telling the story. I mean, me and Little C's is cool. And Little C's told me he punched me in my face. Really? And me and C, I seen C's, really? No, I'm not dissing C's, but no, Little C's never punched me. But if you go to his end in that story, that's what he said he did. And like I said, I ain't got no problem. I seen C's, we good. But you keep running around with these 25-year-old stories. Do you ever hear me talk about when you ran on me when BMF pulled up? When you ran in the hotel, they chased you to the beach. Oh, and lucky, I had my and my man Jojo, I ain't gonna say his name, Spanish the Spanish about life, who was with me, is like, who are these? I said, oh, they come this way. No, and this no disrespect, because Blue's all that. And Blue Da Vinci just told this story on his platform or whatever platform recently. He got it 89% right. It's a little off, Blue. I'll tell it on Talk with Flea, my perspective of what happened. But at the end of the day, I don't be out there pumping. They chase you to the beach in the sand. You was getting wet from the water, from the ocean.
This one's brutal. It tears down Jim's whole tough guy identity. All that muscle man posturing, all that enforcer talk, all that real one bravado. Cam just crushed it with a single story, and he says he's got witnesses ready to confirm every word.
You know why? Because the revolution was televised. I'm here. That's why God worked like that. That's why me here. The revolution was televised. What you talking about? And I'll wrap it up real quick with this, because I'll be here for an hour. We got to stop tricking freedom, bro.
And what's worse, Cam ain't even mad no more. He's not shouting, he's not wilding, he's bored. That's next level disrespect. When someone doesn't even view you as a threat anymore and just sees you as an annoyance, that means you've officially fallen off their radar. Cam's basically saying, you're not even worth my energy. I've moved on.
Business out there, none of that type of shit. I'm not the type of here to talk down. I don't care. Know what I do. You heard? And they know what I've done. And they could dance around it all they like that joking, but they know upset is gonna be a real problem. And I can tell you about times that I did get upset. And I can tell you about times that they don't want me to talk about. You heard? The both of them. You dig? Like, this game, they can't play with me too much. I give them the floor to do that because that serves me no purpose. I got too much about too much shit to do. I'm trying to get to a real bag, a real different type of bag, and I'm trying to help out more than that.
So how does Jim respond to getting exposed from every angle? With threats. Classic panic move. No real facts, no receipts, just weak intimidation tactics. Jim's out here claiming he's gonna expose Cam and Mate's secrets, but peep what he's not doing. He's not denying a single thing they've accused him of.
Mace need to go on a diet. He need to get his life together. He need to go to the doctor and get a physical. He looked terrible, bad body, back. Nigga look big around the neck, waist look crazy. I'm body shaming this. You heard? He need to go get on the treadmill, do some push-ups, do something. You heard? Especially for playing with me.
And when the threats fall flat, he slides even lower. Body shaming. Jim really went and told MASE he needs to hit the gym? Like what? That's not a comeback, that's straight out of middle school. That's the move of a man with zero ammo left, swinging wild with petty insults while his whole rep burns down around him. If Jim thinks trashing Mae's weight is gonna win this war, it just shows how far he's fallen off. Ain't nothing gangster about this. This ain't street politics, it's straight up desperation. Jim's moves right now aren't about pride or loyalty. They're the frantic swings of a man who knows deep down he already lost.
It's the point of anything. I think when people put negative energy in the light, people just run with it. You know, the media, social media is not about anything positive. You know what I mean? It's about going viral, catching people's attention and things like that. You dig? So I try not to feed into that because I know there's a big reality. There's a big difference between the two. You know what I mean? But even though I gotta live in the truth for business-wise and things like that, but for the most part, I try to stay away from all the social media and digital antics.
The irony? It's choking at this point. Jim keeps saying he don't take Cam's responses seriously, calls it a clout chase, says they're just doing it to go viral. But wait, who's the one doing sit-downs with XXL, Cam Capone, and any outlet that'll press record? Jim Jones, the same guy calling others thirsty for attention, is out here running a full-blown press tour trying to stay in the convo.
I'm saying MASE and all that going on yet, or are they still coming up?
I'm not gonna sit here and do a discography, my bro. It's a little bit too much for me. And you ain't paid enough for that. So if you got some other questions you wanna ask, or you could erase all this, send you your money back. Either or.
Okay, I mean,
I understand what's going on and the plight of everything that's going on, and people want to know the history, but this ain't the way that you're not going to be able to get the whole Jim Jones, your Jomo story for that, what you did. I thought this was some regular questions. Seemed like you're trying to get everything up to every point, and that's not going to happen right now. So if you want to ask some questions, I'm cool with that, but you definitely can't ask me all these questions you're asking, my brother. So if you got some ask, you better ask and get it off your chest, but I ain't going through this with you because you don't have enough money for that. No disrespect.
And then comes the moment that says it all. The interviewer pushes him, tries to get real answers about the beef with Cam and Machi, and Jim locks up. The same dude who's been puffing his chest and throwing threats suddenly got nothing to say. That's what happens when your whole story's built on shaky lies. Start asking real questions and the whole thing crumbles like a cheap stage set. Jim's loud when he's in control, but let someone else steer the convo, silence. What we're witnessing is the mental unraveling of a man who's been faking it so long. Reality itself feels like a threat.
Not to be in worse situations than they was before they met you. You get, do you understand that? I don't know if you understand that. That's why I'm now, but then you send them on dummy missions and trick them out their freedom. Max is doing 75, I know you up. Jaja just wanted to be a rapper. Jaja had 10 years, my nigga. We don't know where Jeter at. Stro is just missing. I don't know what the in the Stro. Slicey, 12 years. His godson, that was 13 years old, 8 years. Shotty, he was trying to be 12 years. And I know you love Mel, because I love Mel Matrix. That's my brother. I love him. That's your man more than my man, and that's a fact. I'm not denying it. But you said when he come home, he gonna be the triple OG. Get that man a job, man. Get him a job. He was the triple OG before he went in. Make sure he getting a job, getting six digits a year. That's what it's really about. As much as that side, I don't know if me or not, I ain't talking about this situation. You know what's gangster? Emery is gangster. Emery that had a Puma, creative well doing. It ain't even like jail back on his plate no time soon, and they ain't never going back. You know what's gangster? Biggs is gangster. Biggs come home from jail, still got a stake in Rockefeller, whatever him and Jay-Z worked out, that's cool. Or whatever, he got St. John as artist, he working with Drink Champs. That's gangster. Not throwing back in the pot to eventually do something that could get them back in the same situation. And I'm not saying, if you got something lined up for Matrix, I'm shut the my bad, I apologize, but I don't want that from Melly, because I get out Melly. Whether he care about me like he used to or not, I still my love for Melly. So hopefully that'll go right. But this is gonna be the last time I address this. I did this 10 years ago. A lot of people seem like this is new business. When Jim wanted to go to Rock Nation, he sat there and was crying on Funk Master Flex, saying I did this, did that. We did this whole thing 10 years ago, bro. I'm not doing this every 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Whatever you got to say after this, good luck, I wish you luck. I got other shit. A lot of people don't even realize the Dipset movement was from 2001 to 2006, 7. It's 2025. What are we talking about here? If it's people interested in the stories, I dig it. I understand that. Me, from 2007 to 2025, I got to do. This is not on my plate, so I wish you all the best.
Then Camron steps back in and drops the final blow. This isn't just beef anymore. This is about a whole pattern. According to Cam, every artist who's messed with Jim ends up worse off than when they started. That ain't leadership. That's leech behavior. And Cam's not just talking vibes, he's got a timeline to prove it. Cam reveals that Jim has been on this smear campaign for over 10 years. This drama didn't just start last month, it's decade-long obsession. Why? Because that was the last time Jim felt like he mattered. He's stuck in the past because the past is the only place he ever felt relevant.
You know, what was your reaction when Camron brought up all these old stories and everything about you?
I laugh, man. I got this thing, man. People laugh at the lies, but the truth always hurt. You know, lies are more entertaining. You heard? You get to laugh, you get the joke, but the truth is a serious thing, no matter how you look at it. The truth is what the truth is.
Yeah, you know, the internet gets kind of crazy with the lies. The lies are going crazy on the internet.
I mean, well, the lies start from a narrative, and the narrative starts from a person, and you just got to look at it like that. But I've never been one in my life to care about clearing up no rumors. Like, that shit just takes time out my day from making money. I know who I am. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I stand 10 toes down on everything I believe in. I don't change my pivot, and everybody knows that.
And the cycle just keeps spinning. Jim says he don't care about the rumors, that he's too focused on making money to bother. But who's out here still doing interview after interview with XXL, Cam Capone, and anyone else with a mic? The irony is insane. Jim says he's above the drama, while being the main one feeding it. Jim Jones, the same guy claiming he's all about chasing the bag, is out here hopping from one interview to the next, dragging up old beef just to keep his name buzzing. But this ain't just 3 Harlem dudes arguing over faded glory. This is about authenticity in hip-hop. It's about the real difference between builders and biters, between creators and clout chasers, between those who earn their stripes and those who steal credit just to stay in the conversation. Jim's whole saga is a blueprint for what not to do. He's the walking warning sign of what happens when you build your identity on somebody else's legacy. Cam and MASE didn't just clap back. They exposed a fraud who's been fronting in plain sight for over 20 years. And the best part, they didn't even have to lie. Jim's own mouth did the work. His own interviews, his contradictions, his slip-ups, piece by piece, they dismantled every false narrative he's tried to push. This wasn't just a win, this was a demolition. And Jim's now the poster boy for what happens when you fake it for too long in a culture that demands realness. Please subscribe, share, and like. See you on the next one.